Hello, welcome to Treasure of the Church Gregorian chant. I'm Father Perrone. And today we're going to be learning more about the rhythm of Gregorian chant, a very important key to proper singing of the chant. Please enjoy. And we are going to begin on page 95 of your Chants of the Church book. Towards the bottom of the page, we have the hymn taken from the sequence for Corpus Christi, extracted, sometimes used alone for communion time. Ecce panis angelorum. Now, in order to understand Gregorian chant's rhythm, which is one of its great beauties, the melody and the modality that we talked about in the last class is only part of it. The rhythm is the most distinctive thing, I would say, about Gregorian chant. It's the reason why it is so different from any other kind of music. Modern music can be modal. Contemporary music can be modal. Rock and roll music even uses modes. But the rhythm peculiar to Gregorian chant is very fitting for the liturgy, and it conveys a certain prayerfulness all by itself. So we need to try to break into the secret of Gregorian rhythm. Now, in order to do that, we first have to look at the text. We cannot get away from the fact that Gregorian chant is wedded to the Latin language. It makes it very a distinctive kind of sound, which means that chant in English, although it's possible to sing the chant melodies to English, will never have quite the same effect. It's because our language is not conducive to this kind of subtlety. But that's a whole other subject, chant in English, and it's not entirely worthless, and I don't want to disparage the efforts of those who have spent some time doing this. In fact, I've done some of it myself. But we are talking about the Latin language and its music for the sacred liturgy, which is Gregorian chant. Now, the first thing we have to say, to speak about, is the accent of the word, what we call the tonic accent of the word. This is terribly important in Latin. And the first thing I want to say is that the Latin language does not know an accent on the final syllable of a word. You know, we have the word become. I become a teacher by teaching. We don't have become. You don't have this accent on the last syllable. So in Latin, we are going to have I'll use the word accent. We have the stress on the first syllable or some other syllable, but it's never on the last. Now, before we do anything else, what I'm going to point out to you in this particular piece, Ecce panis angelorum, we have a meter here, so it makes it a little bit easier, is I'm going to write the accents down over the words. Because we have to emphasize the text. So the first thing I want to say is it's ecce, so that's the first one. I'm going to put it really over the E there. I'm going to put an accent mark as if this were modern music. This is not relating at all to the music now, we're relating only to the text. So it's ecce, and you see the Latin already has its own accent. It has this accent. So I'm going to add it. Ecce panis angelorum factus cibus viatorum vere panis filii orum non mittendus canibus. Now you see that everyone, we have twos. Ecce panis angelorum factus cibus viatorum, and including the rhyme, vere panis filii orum non mittendus canibus. Yes? Now, in Latin, the accent is never heavy, the word accent. Latin is always spoken with a certain musicality. And so we never have ecce panis angelorum. We never have this kind of heavy accent. In fact, the Latin accent is really almost a melodic accent. Ecce panis angelorum. See, my voice goes up for these accented syllables. So it's as if it has its own music. Ecce panis angelorum. So then we have a word with 3 syllables, and we'll speak about that later. So we could say that every word in this except the last, we have a rise and a fall. Ecce, ecce, panis, angelorum. See, my voice, we don't even think of it. But there's pitch when we speak. So this is lifted. It's like raising your foot, and here it goes down. However gently. This is rise and fall. Rise and fall. Ecce panis angelorum. The main thing I want to tell you at this point is that it's rise and fall. See, we think of accent as a hammer going down, but that's not how it is in Latin. It's gentle. It's rise and fall. Rise and fall. Ecce panis angelorum. So that becomes very important when we speak about the rhythm of the music as well. But I want to underscore the point that the Latin text itself has its rhythm. And the music is made to fit those words, which is again the reason why singing chant in English doesn't work very well. Even if we respect the word accents. If we were to say, I don't even know how we would do it here, because see, behold, we have already a word with an accent on the second syllable. But if I would have said now, see now, I can't even do it. I mean, I would have to sit down and think how we could match up word accents to make a sort of equivalent text to this. But we're not going to be doing that. I just wanted to show you the difficulty. Now, having said that this is a rise and a fall of the voice, we can say that the accent is not an accent as we think of it, but is rather this lifting and subsiding or gently going down. Now, I just want to call to your attention something that you learned already, and that is the grouping of notes or beats or counts in the musical line is indicated by the ictus point. The ictus is this vertical line under or sometimes over a note. In this example, they're all always underneath, you see? And these are found in the solemn edition. That is to say, they're printed in the book. Where they're not given, they have to be supplied. That's the lesson. The first lesson we have to conquer today is the placing of the ictus point. Now, in this case, because the music is so regular, that rather the Latin text is so even and regular, it's rather easy. And also notice it's a syllabic chant. If you remember, a syllabic chant means that there's one note per syllable. And you see that's throughout the piece. Here we have this little clevis here. You see, 2 notes. And we have another one over here. Otherwise, it's perfectly syllabic chant. Now here's what you need to take special note of. As the word accent, if I can call it, is given, the musical accent does not coincide with the word accent. You see, here's ecce, and there's your musical accent. See, it's always off. Now, before we get into that anymore, I just wanted to point that out to you. We need to talk about the rules for placing the ictus point. Now, almost all choirs, and certainly all congregations, unless they are exceptional, and I can't even think of an example, have no idea of what these are about, nor even if they knew about them, would be able to do it without a lot of rehearsing. This is something really that a choir needs to practice, and a lot of choirs don't even pay attention to this. The rhythm of the Gregorian chant, observing these ictus points, and it's the thing that gives the chant its life. So the first thing I want to say, these are the rules. The first thing I want to say is that obviously every time the printed ictus point is given, that's the one count. All right? In this case, it's printed in your book. It's a very easy chant. The second rule is that any notes that are lengthened take the ictus point. Now, what are the notes that are lengthened? Here's a dotted note. We would put in, I can put it in on the screen. I can put an ictus here. We have another dotted note here, another, and at the end. Now, knowing that the chant is counted in twos and threes, we can already see there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but at exactly the opposite moments that we have the word accents. That creates this question: how do we take this? This is before an ictus point, therefore it presumes that there's a rest. This piece begins with a rest. I'm going to use a rest as an eighth rest as in modern music. So now we have rest 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Every time we have a neum, ordinarily speaking, we will add the ictus point at the beginning of a formation. So there will be one, and the other is towards the end. It's a little bit difficult to make it with the limited room that we have. Now, as you know, there are other things besides which have length. I'm going to just draw it on the page. If you recall, I'm going to just make a square here for a neum. If we have the horizontal epicema, a horizontal epicema would take the ictus. It's a very slight slowing down. Very slight slowing down. It's actually more expressiveness than tempo indication. The horizontal epicema. It can be over one note, or if this were a clevis, I have styluses to do this better, but you see, if we have the diamond-shaped note in a formation, you see, it can be over the one note, and it's understood in the singing to be over the three notes. It's printed only in the one note, but it's understood to be over the three notes. Now, on this page, I don't know if we have any other. No, we are all in syllabic chants. This book has mostly syllabic chant in it. All right, so what we want to do now is to count this. I'm going to play the melody. Maybe we should first say the words with the Gregorian rhythm in mind, with the musical rhythm in mind. So we're going to say, rest ecce panis angelorum, factus cibus viatorum, vere panis filiorum, non mitendus canibus. We have two notes here, and we have two notes here. So in our book, we're going to be looking for, we'll do a couple kyries perhaps, Mass number 8. Now, I choose Mass number 8 simply because everybody knows Mass 8. Now, the unfortunate thing about this piece, anyone who knows Gregorian chant will know this piece, perhaps. It's unfortunately a very late chant. What is given here, 15th to 16th centuries, is probably not accurate. It's quite modern, actually. It sounds very much in the major key, which is why congregations like to sing it. It's not modal in the sense of the unusual sounds of the modes. It's tuneful. All these are indicators of its closeness to our time. So we are going to sing this Kyrie, or look at it, not for this musical value, but only to reinforce our lesson about Gregorian rhythm. So of course we have, this is Greek now, the Kyrie is one of 2 times in the Roman liturgy where the Greek is used, pretty much. We have Kyrie, we have the first syllable, Kyrie eleison. Yes, eleison. Now, we were going to focus our attention not on the text, but on the melody. The first rule was that where the ictus point is given, that's going to be 1. So we have a printed ictus point here, and we have one here, and we have one here in the first phrase. The next rule is that any notes of length take the ictus point. So what are the notes of length? Here is a dot. This is 1, 2. Here is 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Notice our flat sign here, by the way, which is what gives this piece its major key sound. Even though it's in the 5th mode, it's a Lydian mode, but it sounds very much like a major key. And here's our flat sign as well here. So this flat carries over for the entire incise, you see. When the bar line cuts in, they have to repeat the flat sign for the rest until the next bar line, or the next word occurs, and then it would have to be repeated. I don't think we have an example of that in this chant. No. In any case, the next rule about placing the ictus point is at the beginning of a formation, of a neume formation, we put the ictus point. So here we have a group of 3. So our first rule was the printed ictus. We don't need to add anything. It's already in your text. So the notes of length, here's a dotted note, and a dotted note. So we know that's going to be 1, 2 each time. Here's another here before the incise. The next rule will be the beginning of a neume formation. So we have, here's a group of 3. Here's a group of 3, this clevis here, 1, 2, 3, the 2 diamond notes, yes? Then we have another one here. I'm going to put it on top. As I told you, the ictus point may be placed on top. We have a printed one there. Here begins a torculus, so we will add it here, the group of 3, with the middle note higher than the other 2. And we're going to start here. 1, 2. We're going to start here, another formation, and we already have the one printed. This is going to tell us, if here's an ictus point, this has to be a 2. There's going to be a rest at the beginning of the Kyrie, and that's going to be 1. Now, of course, already you can see that when we sing this in church, how do we sing it? Kyrie, Kyrie. It's wrong, right? Let's see. Already we're singing it incorrectly. It starts in a rest. Kyrie. And you see what it does? Starting with a rest, lifts this note. So it's not heavy. It's not Kyrie. Kyrie. Even though it's Greek, but we're talking about a piece of Gregorian chant, right? So we count. Rest 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So they're not all twos. We have some groups of 3. Now, let's count it, and I'm going to play the melody. You don't have to sing it, we'll just count it. Here we go. And rest, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right? So, shall we try singing it? No Greek text, only numbers. Here we go. And rest. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So already there's a feeling of rhythm about this piece that we don't have when we sing it in church. La di ra ra di ra di ra di ra di ra di. You see, it has a smooth rhythm because every note gets one count. We don't rush. We don't sing. Kyrie eleison, as we do often. We just start going down scale and we start picking up tempo. All right? No, we don't do that. We have to keep the same tempo all the time. All right. Now, if we were to do the Christe is very similar because from the incise, it's always the same. See, this melody here is repeated here. So these would be the same. And the same thing on the return of the Kyrie. And then we have the final Kyrie by itself, which is not in, yes, it's there. I want to point out to you another thing in reading this. This is called Missa de Angelis, the Mass of the Angels, sometimes it's called. So that's why it's subtitled here. It's Mass 8 in the collection of the Kyriale. On double feasts, second class, this no longer applies. These were done away with before 1962, the 1962 Missal. So we don't have this designation anymore. This goes back to, as I told you, this book was printed in the 50s. In the newer chant books, you will not find any of this. All right? I also want to point out this to you. This IIJ, and then only IJ, it means repetition. There's no repeat mark. If this were modern music, we would put a repeat sign here, perhaps, something like that. It means you go from there back to the beginning. Of course, we don't do that in Gregorian chant. We don't have this repeat sign. So it's understood when you see this that it's sung 3 times. By the way, the letter J and letter I are the same thing, right? Jesu, or can be written with an I or with a J. So they used a J probably because that was finishing the letter, the stroke rather. 1, 1, 2, 3. And so here, this Kyrie is only sung twice rather, because we're singing the final Kyrie, which is a little bit is a little longer. So we have Kyrie eleison. Next time we'll be talking about counting Gregorian chant and where to put the ictus point. Until then, I'm Father Perrone. God bless you.